Welcome to Exhale by me, Sonya Stoeckert, a space where faith meets freedom and every woman is reminded of her God-given strength. Here we hold space for real stories, deep conversations, and the kind of encouragement that lifts your spirits and fuels your purpose. Today, we dive into a conversation that will inspire, challenge, and empower you to walk boldly in who God created you to be. So take a breath in through the nose and exhale. Let's begin. Welcome to Exhale by me, Sonya Stoeckert, and this is one of my friends, Miss Brittney Strand.
Hello.
One of the best realtor agents in Northport.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I had written down a few questions to ask her previously before we jumped on this podcast, and I'm excited to see what your answers are. Would you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
Yes, as you said, my name is Brittney Strand. I am a local realtor in the area. But first, I am a mom and a wife. I've got 3 little girls, and I'm born and raised in Southwest Florida. And I love where I live.
It is gorgeous down here. I always knew I was going to move to Florida one day, but I waited till I was 19 and moved down here.
Yeah.
I wish I could have grown up here. I wish I could have learned the history of Florida.
A lot of people are like, "You're born and raised here?" I'm like, "Yeah, no. I'm through and through.
I'm not a transplant.
No.
I'm here.
I am born and raised."
That's awesome. Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about what you love about being a realtor?
I love being a realtor because honestly, not every day is the same. There's always something new going on. There's challenges that you have to overcome. And getting to the closing table is just such a good feeling for that family or, whoever, an investor or, snowbirds or whatever it is. And working through all of those challenges, because I have to tell people, I'm like, listen, I would be lying if I told you this is going to go completely smooth, but there's always something that comes up. But that's why you have me, is to get you through those challenges. And so it's really fun in the end. And relationships are super important to me. So building those relationships, something that I take pride in is it's not just a sale to me. I truly build relationships with people. And I mean, even people that I sold houses to 5 years ago, I'm still very involved, and I love to hear what's new, if they're having new babies or getting married. Aww. And so, I love that.
So it's kind of like what my job is as a personal trainer. Yeah. You come alongside the people and you help them on their journey and what they're looking for. And those friendships can come as a surprise sometimes. Yep. You meet people and you're like, okay, I'm helping you buy this house or helping you do this workout. And then you become the best of friends. And I think those friends are very treasured.
I love it.
Sure.
And they teach me things. Yeah. Every time, every transaction, I learn something new. It's never the same. So
that's awesome. Well, the cool thing about you coming on my podcast is I get to talk about my favorite subject, Jesus, God, being a woman of faith, marriage, family, all the things. Yes. And I cannot wait to hear your answers to some of these questions, because they're also things that I'm not new to the faith. Right. I've been a believer since I was little. But I do have newer faith with being married and being a family and all those fun things. So let's start out. First question, can you share a little bit about your journey? How your faith has shaped the woman, the wife, and the mother that you are today?
So I was a young mom. And growing up, I went to church every Sunday, Bible schools and Bible studies, summer camps, all the things. But we practice it, but it wasn't truly living it.
Right.
And my family would talk about it, of course, and it was hard for me to believe at such a young age, because I watched other people around me, and I'm like, wait, aren't we supposed to be living for God? And
Things
they're not
aren't
matching up.
Yeah.
So, and, coming from a little bit of a rougher, childhood and not necessarily childhood, but later on in life, I did experience, different things within my family. My parents aren't married. They did split when I was younger. And so I didn't get to experience like having family,
right?
And being in the same home and, family members battling with addiction and all of the things. So I knew probably, I would say at the age of, so I had my first child at 18.
Okay.
And it makes me emotional talking about it. Sorry.
No, it's okay, girl.
She's my baby. So,
yes.
But I knew that I wanted my life to be so different,
yeah.
From what I grew up in.
Yeah.
And I just wanted her to have a different experience than I had. Her father and I are not together, but we have a great relationship, and we, mainly focus on her and only her. And I wanted to bring that into I knew wherever I was going, like God was going to be at the center.
Yeah.
And so, of course, challenges and, different things happening in life and all of the things and all the worldly things, and just really focusing on being able to really trust in him. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it has shaped the woman I am today, because I was so much control, like, for so long.
Right.
And I just couldn't let go. And then I finally was like, you know what? I don't have it anymore.
Yeah, surrender.
Just take it. Lead me the way. And I feel like it has definitely spilt over into my children today, and just showing them, like, one of my biggest things is I don't sugarcoat the challenges in our life.
Yeah.
And I think that's important for kids to see, because I feel like growing up, going back to that, I feel like I was sheltered from a lot of things.
And that was actually a thought that's just been bouncing around in my head.
Yeah.
I was raised the same way.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way, but everybody sugar-coated everything.
Yeah.
So when you came back into, like, actually being a grown-up in reality, you're looking around like, wait a minute, this is not,
yes.
I mean, even divorces were
Yeah.
sugar-coated.
Yeah.
Things, the family had walked through. And I think that's when I finally realized, like, our generation, we are generational curse breakers.
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
And I knew, I would say, my early 20s were a little crazy. I'm not going to lie. I was a little crazy in my early 20s, but I knew that I had some really strong generational curses to just break those chains. And I was prepared to do that. And
that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
and as a child, being in the church and being in Sunday school and all those things, like, I think that's amazing, because that planted seeds in us.
Yes, absolutely, it did.
So when we were faced with the actual reality of life,
Yep.
we were like, okay, we know what to do in this situation.
Absolutely. And I love my mom and dad for, doing those things. Mainly my mom really was the one who brought me to church, and I'm so thankful for that, because it did plant those seeds.
Right,
so.
Right. Can I ask you, like, what kind of church did you start going to?
Baptist.
Yeah.
Oh, so
yeah.
we were Baptists,
Yes.
growing up Baptist. Definitely different from, what I go to now.
Yeah.
So it's so funny, though, when my grandfather will come and visit from out of town, because he's Baptist through and through.
Right.
And I'll bring him to one of my churches. He's like, I can't do it. He's like, I can't do it.
It's too much
it's just too much dancing and worshiping. And he's like, why is everybody crying? And, so it's just so funny. But for me, it's absolute. The churches now have definitely, my faith has grown so much deeper because of that. So
I feel like because they mirror more on grace.
Yes.
Which when Jesus came and died on the cross, I mean, we were given that grace.
Yes.
I was raised in the complete opposite spectrum. I was Pentecostal at first. A lot of worshiping going on, a lot of tambourines.
Yes.
A lot of just performing down the aisles and stuff, in which I felt like, this is cool, this is normal.
Right.
And then as I grew up, my parents transferred into more of a Baptist religion setting. So it was complete opposite. I went to a Baptist school. We weren't allowed to dance in any way.
Right.
worship was really just the hymn books, which there ain't nothing wrong with a good old hymn. Look up the Old Rugged Cross, and I bet you your mascara will be down your face. That is my favorite hymn. But just growing up in that, like, different type of culture, seeing both sides, when I found my church, which I go to Awaken Church, and it's just it's a mixture of both in like a perfect blend for me, who I am.
Absolutely.
And there's no wrong,
right,
way. Like, you can sit in a pew dressed really, really nice. What I love is I can show up to church in my PJs and they're gonna love me.
Yes. And absolutely. And I think it's important too that I grew up thinking like making mistakes was bad.
Yeah.
Like I was going,
you're gonna be smited.
I'm gonna go to hell.
You're gonna be smited.
So now, like, just so much grace is just poured over us, and I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah, His grace is definitely over us, and that helps me on my walk when I mess up. I mean, you were talking about in your 20s. Like, I look back into my 20s. God was there.
Yes.
He was knocking, and he was like, hey, let's get this together.
Yeah.
But really not until I was in my mid-30s is when I really surrendered my life to God, and it just blew up.
Yep.
Like, you can see, I'm sure you can contest to that, the difference between, okay, dipping the toe, to
half in and half out. Absolutely. I live my life like that for a very long time.
Definitely. But that is one of my favorite transitions because I got to see the best of both worlds.
Yes.
And I got to ultimately choose for myself what we're
exactly.
going to do.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I love my church. I wrote down here the book of Ruth. So whenever you're walking through hard times as a woman, as a wife, as a mom, there's something in that book of Ruth. It's 3 chapters. You can read it in a few minutes, but I pull something different out of it every single time.
Yes.
So I wanted to say that you guys have anything going on that you just need to surrender, read that book, especially with marriage.
Yeah, absolutely.
I used that as a weapon during some hard times in my life, and God really showed up.
Oh, I love that.
Yes. All right, second one. Every season of life teaches us something. What were some of the hardest but most valuable lessons that helped shape the way you see love, marriage, family today?
So I would say some really hard lessons for us is losing people along the way.
Yeah.
We've lost a lot of friends, that no longer are, friends with us or family members, but it wasn't necessarily their choice. We were on a walk with God and we were getting there no matter what. Right. So you were either, of course, we want to bring everybody to Christ, right? Yeah. But you're either with us or you're not.
Yeah.
But it hurt, right?
Yeah.
Because you've been friends with someone for so long but God saw and knew that they needed to be removed in order for us to be able to move on with our journey. So I think that was really tough, losing friends. And honestly, too, like, I think it kind of touches back, like, it's okay to mess up, you know, like, and have those difficult moments. We're not perfect, and I think that was hard to, grasp and understand, like, you're going to have some hard lessons. It's okay.
Right.
What's important is that you work right through it,
Yeah. And keep your faith in God.
Absolutely. So, and
usually, like, when you walk through hard stuff like that, there's a lesson at the end.
Always. Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think, too, something important is that it may not make sense right now.
Yes.
But it will. In the future, and I see clearly now. Yeah. Okay, they weren't meant to be my friends, or even family members. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't meant to be in this walk with me, and obviously I pray, one day they come to know Christ, and we'll see. So,
and your life can be a reflection of God's love.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's good to pray for our friends, but just keep showing up as yourself.
Yes, and show up. Absolutely.
They'll see it.
Yeah.
You know, they'll be like, what is that one thing that keeps her going and successful? And the coolest thing is when it is your family.
Yeah.
Because they see a more deeper reflection of what you've walked through before.
Yes. Yeah.
And now they look at you now. And a lot of people are like, how is all this happening?
Well, there's only one explanation for that. So
good Lord above,
Yes.
up in the sky. So yeah, I just think that those lessons really do shape who we are.
Absolutely.
As
Yeah.
we grow up. But there's nothing more satisfying to me personally when you're walked through that season and you take the step back.
Yep.
And you look and you're like, oh,
Yes, exactly.
that's why.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Because there's been times where, you know, relationships, things like that, you're crying out to God, make this work, make this work, make this work, and it doesn't. And you're like, well, now I know why it didn't.
Exactly.
Because my life would have went completely a different
Opposite.
way.
Yes, absolutely. I do think back to some moments and I'm like, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
Thank you, God.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're like, thank you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Yes. Some more Jesus talk here. You had shared with me briefly when we were at the gym, and I was kind of like, what would you like to talk about and things?
Yeah.
And I love this because this is one of the things I'm loving to hear, because my husband has just recently gone through this as well. So what was it like watching your husband come to Christ, and how has that transformed your impact or impacted your marriage and your family?
Well, without getting emotional,
Right.
It was definitely, it was beautiful, honestly.
Yeah.
And so let me just backtrack a little bit.
Go
So
right ahead.
my husband and I have been together for 13 years.
Right.
And for 5 years, I'm not even lying, 5 years of that, I continued to go to church. I prayed. I brought my kids to church every Sunday morning without them.
Right.
Sorry.
Okay.
And he watched that, and I kept telling myself, okay, you know what? And all my church friends, you know, everybody, we prayed for him and all the things, and I'm like, you know what? He's just gonna one day and I kept telling myself this, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, he's just gonna want to know more and want to come with us, and
Right.
I'd offer. I never pushed him, pushed him. I never, I was like, hey, if you want to come, great, come with us. Love to have you, and invite him, of course, every time. But then something just like clicked with him, and it's been 7 years now, and roughly 7 years. And he literally looked at me one morning and he was like, I think I'm ready to open up my heart to Christ. And I was like, what?
Whoa.
I was like, what?
Whoa.
And of course I was like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
And so he wanted to he didn't know anything really. I mean, of course, all the things that he heard. I mean, he grew up in church, growing up as a kid, in and out, not really understanding.
Yeah.
So I was very excited, and so it's been a wonderful journey. Obviously, challenges along the way, but having my husband come to Christ, we are just like a completely different family, and he is literally leading the pack now, and that's all I ever prayed for, and
we need a leader in our marriage.
Have to.
Yeah.
And so it's just been amazing ever since. I mean, truly, people that knew my husband years ago are like, holy crap, who are you? He is a completely changed person, and he will literally look at you and say, I would not be a changed person if it wasn't for God.
Amen.
And that is just so powerful. And he has a testimony, and it is powerful. We all have a testimony, right? But I truly believe he could change so many lives. I swear. He's just he's amazing. And he's just grown deeper into it. Our marriage is so much stronger.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, nothing could come between this. And our kids also, we discuss challenges, and make sure that we are our first, what do we go to? It's God. We're praying, and I think that's important. And now, hearing Dad say those things, for so long, it's just It's amazing,
Yeah.
honestly. It's a whole new life. It really is.
Yeah, it is a whole new life. Like when you put God first,
Yeah.
your husband second.
Yes.
And for a man to be okay with that,
Yes.
they really have to love God.
Yes.
And understand that God is first.
Yes.
Husband second.
Yep.
Children.
Yep.
And then so on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he does practice that. And I mean, it's challenging for me, sometimes when it comes to the kids, but having I love having a partner now. Like we are literally a team, and it's just so amazing that we can raise our children like this. It's all I ever wanted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I prayed for this for so long. I wanted to have this.
Answered prayers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, lots of praying.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of praying. Lots and lots of praying. Bible studies and groups and all the things.
Friends praying for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's kind of the same situation. I was the same way when I first started dating George. He was so like anti-God. He was raised Catholic, so he had a little bit of a stigma on religion. I just had really great Christian friends that encouraged me. They're like, keep going to church.
Yeah.
Like if he doesn't want to go, and he started showing up once in a blue moon, like, the Christmas, Easter regulars, and he really started to get into that. And you've known me for a while.
Yeah,
we had a little bit of separation where we were not together for a while, and when we got back together, like it felt like all those prayers I've been praying were starting to really trickle in. Sometimes it takes taking a break or taking a moment to realize how much you love someone and how much you want to be with them.
Right.
And he actually gave his heart to Christ at one of the Christmas on the lawn. And I'll have to get him on here and tell his story.
I love that.
It was just beautiful. And like now he has Christian friends. He has a testimony that he's given. We go to our Celebrate Recovery.
Love that.
And he's and there's a gnat on my nose.
There is a little gnat.
It's all right. It's our friend.
Yeah.
So he goes to Celebrate Recovery,
Okay,
and he's doing things, helping out at the
awesome.
church.
That's
But if
awesome.
you would have known George before and George now, same thing. Powerful testimony. Definitely plant seeds in people's hearts.
No, and I love that. And I think, too, it's important to... I think it was a pride thing for my husband also.
Same.
And I think that it was like, oh, I don't need anybody. I got this. Yep. And once he started to allow God in and really let him in and give him that control, he started to see God work. And he was like, there's no other explanation other than God, And I'm like, yes. Like there's just, there is no other explanation. And I love that he is recognizing that now. And I'm so, it's so important. It really is.
It's really huge. And
yeah.
just being on the outside watching, like, because you and I, we grew up in church, and, it's just something that kind of ebb and flows in our life. And to watch somebody actually come to Christ in front of your eyes.
It's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
And then it's because you prayed for them.
Right.
It's even more beautiful.
Yeah. And I think too, like him watching, and even with your husband, them watching you going to church and you're changing and you're doing all these things.
Right.
He's basically like, I want that too.
Right.
So
yeah. How do you have all that happiness all the time?
Yeah. I'm like,
guess
I've
what?
been trying to tell you this.
It's not a secret. We've been trying to tell you. Oh, I love that. That's so amazing. How do you and your husband keep Christ at the center of your marriage, especially like in the busy seasons of life? Because that's when we get in those busy seasons of life, then it's not in our routine and all those things.
Honestly, I think like holding each other accountable too, like he literally, like we've been kind of like, just struggling and going through the motions and just having some really tough, it's been a tough season, right? Yeah. And he literally looked at me the other day. He was like, when you woke up this morning, did you pick up your phone or did you pray? And I was like,
Okay, accountability.
I'm
man.
like, okay, well, I may have picked up my phone. I'm like, but I need that, you know? And again, he is the leader of the pack.
Yeah.
And so in reminding ourselves to pray.
Yeah.
Like, it is so important. Even if you're not saying like I literally just talk to God.
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, God, I don't know what I'm trying to say right now, but I got something going on, and literally just talking to him as if you were talking to a friend. And you're, you know, and pray. And I love that Cody is, I just said my husband's name. It's okay. He's going to kill. Everybody knows who I am anyways.
Nobody knows who he is.
No. He is very, and again, because he's gotten to experience God.
Yeah.
And praying is so powerful. And being able to pray for things that we have and you see them come to life, it's incredible. But again, just holding each other accountable. And making sure that we're reminding ourselves, and again, sharing our challenges too, you know, like, what are we experiencing right now? Okay, what do we need to focus on with praying, and making sure that we have coffee together, you know, and that's important to us, and having like one-on-one time together. That's like super important to us. We always joke, we're like so selfish, like we just want so much time together, you know. Obviously our kids are our life, but you get to like really, when you do spend, even if it's just coffee, 20 minutes, whatever, and just talking about all the good things that God has done for us, and reminding each other of how far we've come. So,
and being, you know, grateful is huge.
Absolutely. Yes.
And it's really cool that you get to have a perspective from what God's speaking into your husband versus what God's speaking into you as well.
Yeah. And then we share it.
Yes.
And it's like, wait a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes they match up, but sometimes they might help you or might help him.
And talking about it, and you know, sharing my struggles that I'm working on right now, and then he'll take over and pray for what I'm going through, and vice versa. So
that's a beautiful marriage right there.
You know, there's definitely challenges. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We have literally been through the absolute ringer, all the things, but we truly can sit here today and say the only thing that has led us today and has kept our marriage together is God. So
keep that praying without ceasing. That's what the Bible tells us what to do. That's our weapon, the Bible, praying without ceasing. I love that you said, you know, like, just have that constant conversation with God, just having that inner dialogue. I drive around and I'm like talking to God. And then I start to feel, I'm like, but my eyes aren't closed. I'm driving. God's like, you don't have to close your eyes to talk to me. You know?
No, not at all. It's what you're comfortable with. So,
exactly.
And that's important to share with people too. It's your comfort level, and it'll just flow. You know what I mean? It just starts to become easier. So.
Right. It definitely does. So I said, I need this advice.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Yes. Turning the page, blending a family. Now, you shared that with me, and I know that you have a blended family. I have a blended family as well. It can be very challenging.
Yes.
Very challenging.
Yes.
What has helped you build strong, loving relationships within your home?
Boundaries.
Yes.
Boundaries are so important. And, I did share that my first child, her father and I, obviously didn't work out. However, his family and my family are like this.
Okay.
I mean, we are so, and we have one thing that is so important to us, obviously her.
Yeah.
And we said that from the beginning, like, nothing is going to come between this, and that was important to me to share with my husband when he was my boyfriend at the time. Basically, like, hey, I come in a package, and this is important to me, and you have to respect that, right. and he was very respectful of that. We had some challenges in the beginning, but we worked through them, and
co-parenting is not easy.
But again, just boundaries are so important. I cannot stress that enough. There's a book, The Boundary. Have you read that book yet? It's
Good
called
Boundaries.
It's called Boundaries.
Oh, Boundaries?
Yeah,
No,
so it's really good. There's a devotional with it as well. I have it actually.
Okay.
It's a good book.
That.
But boundaries are so important, and
right.
I think that's what has really helped us with any challenges that we've had. And I just don't, earlier on, I'd kind of just like brush things under the rug.
Yeah.
No. I don't have the time for it, you know? And I think that, again, we get this one life to really live, and I want it to be a beautiful one and a stress-free one. And I want it to be, you know, I want everybody to just everybody get along.
That's right.
So.
And I mean, there's little lives that we're raising.
Yeah.
We're trying to break those generational curses.
Absolutely.
And raise them in a different perspective than we were raised in.
Well, exactly. And to touch back on that too, you know, I really have to like remind myself, you know, like I've almost like programmed myself from like, I have my moments, don't get me wrong, ask my children, but
we're real people.
Yeah, we're real people. I definitely have my moments, but I also like remind myself, okay, like who did you need when you were younger?
I love that.
And I think that that's really important, and it does like shift your mindset, you know? So it definitely helps for that. And so we want our kids to see us being adults and being respectful to each other, and again, that's what's important to us.
I love that.
So.
And that being who you needed when you were little.
Yeah.
To be 110% honest with you, that was my goal as an adult.
Yeah.
To become that person I needed in my hardest moments, the one I would have listened to. Because my mom spoke into me, my grandparents.
Yes, same.
But when you're a kid,
nobody could tell you anything.
Yeah, no.
I know.
But I know there were a few people that would speak over my life, and it would be very good because I would listen.
Yeah.
And that's one thing. I wanted to grow up and be that person that
absolutely
I would listen to when I was younger.
And I think too, like back then, right? Our parents did the best they could with what they had. And
they were still growing up.
Yes. And I'm so grateful for today. I don't know, because we get to grow up together too in this life, you know, and talk about those things. And we have so many more resources too today to help guide us and help us create those boundaries. So I'm thankful for that for sure.
That's awesome. Okay. Working mom, career woman. As a working mom in real estate, how do you balance your career, your fitness, I'll be seeing you up in the gym, and family while keeping your faith a priority?
Definitely challenging, for sure. We are literally all over God's green earth 24/7. So I have to remind myself though, like faith, like it's every day, right? It's not just on Sunday mornings. And so worshiping with my kids in the morning and listening to podcasts and things like that. And those are priority to me. And obviously, and being a mom, of course, is a priority to me. And very early on in my business, I did not set those expectations and boundaries up. I was like, yes. So over the years, I have learned that it's okay to say no. And I have set limits. Again, I'm not perfect by any means. I definitely try. But my voicemail actually says if it's after 8 p.m., I'm spending some much needed time with my family, and I'll get back to you tomorrow. So again, boundaries. Yeah. So important, even around customers. And to be honest with you, if I encounter a customer that doesn't respect that, then we're not meant to work together.
Yeah.
And that's okay too, you know, and so, but I've had to learn that along the way, because that's hard, right? It's hard to get that rejection and that no from someone else also. But boundaries are so important. And then again, prioritizing, you know, making sure we're pouring into our children, you know, whatever it is, worshiping together, praying together, and sitting at the dinner table.
Yes.
Like that is super big for us.
Yes.
Yes. Sitting at the dinner table, talking about our highs and lows for the day. And those are a priority to me, because then we're communicating, we're talking about it. And again, making sure that my kids know, hey, mommy might have had a really rough day, but this is how I got to, you know, got to where I am. And it's okay. It's all okay now that I'm around the dinner table with you guys, but I had a really rough day. Yeah. But sharing those challenges with the kids too. But I would say that, again, just boundaries. They're just so important, all aspects of your life.
Yeah.
Whether it's working, and, you know, working in your marriage and your family, all the things, friends, all of it. So, and then as far as like the fitness part of it goes, I am definitely, I go when I can kind of person, you know, and I definitely try to make it a point to at least go 4 times a week. That's my goal, 4 to 5 times a week. And mornings, I try to go in the mornings. I'm not a morning person at all.
Neither am I.
So if you see me in the gym in the morning, please disregard. I don't not like you. I'm just not a morning person, and I apologize.
Get that.
But
Headphones on.
yes, I'm like in the zone. But, you know, and again, just growing up, I had to learn, right? Go through all of the emotions and the challenges of growing up. And I just had to learn what was important to me and focus on that. And I think that's helped me with growing my business too.
Yeah.
Making sure that I'm, again, creating boundaries with those customers as well. So.
Yeah, because when you first start a business, you're like,
all
gimme, I need everything.
Yeah. You want me there at this time?
Yeah, sure.
I'm there. Yeah.
Sorry, kids, I can't. I got to do this. But
yeah.
A huge shift happens when you create those boundaries.
Absolutely.
And it shifts for the way you show up for your family and your kids,
Absolutely. And I will say I've actually gained business because of my voicemail.
Yeah?
They're like, you prioritize your family? I love you. Yeah. You know, like, I want to work with you. So, because I'm going to prioritize their family. You know what I mean? And making sure during that time, like, you got my attention. I'm going to get you guys to that finish line.
Yeah.
So.
And that's not an easy feat.
No.
Being, buying a new home, figuring all those things out. And
all the things.
That's awesome. So I would love to talk to you a little bit more about the fitness.
Okay.
What role has fitness played in your personal growth in strengthening your relationship with God?
Definitely mental health.
Amen.
For sure.
Yes.
Because if I know when I'm having a really bad week and I've missed the gym.
Yep.
And because during that time it's me and I'm focusing, I'm thinking, I'm listening to worship music. Sometimes I'll throw on a little 90s rap, just depends on my mood. But just the mental clarity helps me, like that mental health, mental clarity, and to be able to have that clear mind, to be able to, you know, pray and make sure that we are keeping God at the center. My life is like crazy when I'm not going to the gym. Yeah. Do you ever feel that?
Oh yeah.
Like I'm like, what is going on wrong? What is wrong with me? I feel like I'm like psycho or something. So
it's like that self-care. You got to give yourself
important.
that self-care.
Yeah.
Plus you release trauma when you're at the gym.
Yeah.
You move things through your body. You don't have stuck and stagnant energy, because energy is a real thing, you know. So even if you're walking on the treadmill or you're lifting weights, like you're moving something through your body, and not to mention how much healthier you feel. Right.
And you feel better, right? And you're showing up for yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important too.
And it helps you when you are showing up for yourself. If you have like different food in front of you, you're going to choose the healthier version because you're already in that repetition of taking care of yourself.
Absolutely. And when you feel better, like it impacts people around you.
Yeah.
You know, like if I'm having a really bad week, how are people going to know that God is?
Exactly.
So, again, though, we all have challenging weeks. It's not saying that that's not a good thing at all, but I definitely, the gym definitely brings me some clarity, some peace, for sure. So
me too. If I don't have that gym,
I'm
sad.
No,
but then
I agree.
go there and then I'm happy.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's inspirational too, seeing everyone there.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just like, dang, I need to get, you know.
Right. How come I can't deadlift that much?
One day.
Because I'm not putting as much effort into it.
Yeah.
That comes with time. I try to remember that. If you could go back and encourage your younger version of yourself, what would you say to her?
Let go and trust God.
Amen.
Like, just seriously, just trust in God's plan for you and let go of that control. And I would seriously hug her and tell her everything's going to be okay. Because I went through so many challenges, and I was just like, is there going to be like a light at the end of the tunnel? Like, I wish I could just go back and be like, trust God sooner.
Yeah.
You know?
No, he's there.
Yeah.
He's right there.
Just lean into him, trust him, give him that control. Like, and it's okay to have it's okay to have those challenges. It's going to make you a better woman today, and you know, things like that. So
I've done a really cool meditation that I'd like to share. So I do shower meditations.
Ooh, okay.
And when I did my yoga teacher training, I really sat with my younger self, that little girl, and I was like, you know, I feel like I've moved past this, like I've really healed on this. And then there was like a new sensation, and I was like, what is that? It was my inner teenager, and she's not nice.
No.
So periodically I'll sit in the shower, and I'll go, and in my mind I'll close my eyes, and I'll visit each version of myself.
I love that. Yeah.
All the way up to where I am now. And I'll always see God sitting next to me. Even though I'm walking through not so good stuff, he was still there waiting for me, like the prodigal son, to come back.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing. And just, I metaphorically hug my little self and my teenage self, and all the way up through. Like, just give that yourself a metaphorical hug, and just be like, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like, you think the world's coming to an end right now. This is not. This is just pushing you further into what your purpose is.
Absolutely. And I truly believe that God gave me girls for that reason.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, because we're breaking those generational curses.
Yeah, for sure.
That's definitely.
And saying all the things that I needed to hear.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Even if they don't like them.
Right. And we can speak that over them. We can, we still have to be a mom, of course.
Absolutely.
But we still can be that person that we needed when we were younger.
Yes, absolutely.
Even though the social media and all the things, that's just a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
But we can just love and hug them.
Yes.
What are some of the most powerful ways you have seen God move in your life and in your journey with your family?
He has just always provided, you know, and I think, again, just believing and knowing that he is going to lead us to where exactly it is that we needed to be. We went through many challenges, you know, our younger selves, my husband and I, you know, financially, drinking, all the things. And, I just think that he has truly, again, removed those people out of our lives for that reason.
Yeah.
And like we're like a strong union, like, again, at our home. Like, there's just nothing coming in between that. And God is just so powerful, and he has just worked through us as a family too. You know what I mean? Like, we're closer, we talk about things, and obviously, you know, we go through all the teenage things, but I do believe that he has worked and removed people, placed people in our lives that we need, that we didn't know we needed.
Yeah.
So, and because I've, you know, have had a few moments where I'm like, God, are we supposed to be friends?
Right.
You know? And then I'm like, okay, that makes sense. She's
Right.
leading me closer to you, or whoever,
That's
you know?
beautiful.
So, absolutely. Like I said, we're just a completely different than we were years ago, and I'm just so grateful for that.
I love that.
Yeah.
And you said about providing.
Yes.
That's one thing I brought with me from all the years of growing up, is that God will provide.
Always.
I have been in the deepest, darkest, scariest moments of my life, and friends knew what I had going on in my life, and I've had friends ask me, how can you sit here and just smile? And I was like, because I know it's going to be okay either way. Like, God has me.
Yeah, yeah.
And just putting that faith in, you're going to be okay. You will be provided.
Yeah.
God feeds the birds, you know?
Right.
Why
Exactly.
wouldn't he take care of us?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And to be honest with you, I have to share this with you. I used to be that person that it would just really irritate me to see happy people.
Yeah.
Like, why are you so happy? Like, why are you, like, your life must be that great. You know, I was that person. And, but again, hearing their stories and their journeys has been so powerful and so impactful for my husband and I too. And we're like, we want that together too. You know what I mean? So I think that's important.
It's very important. And like when you put God first and put your faith in that you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's easy to smile.
Yeah.
I've always been a super happy person, and I know that gets on some people's nerves, but
my husband does that now. I'll be in like a really like upset moment, and he's like, I'm not worried about it. He's like, I know God's going to provide.
Love that
I'm
for
like,
you.
But, you know, I might, like, in the moment, like, make a face, but then I'm like, he's right.
Yeah.
And then I'll, like, go text my friend. I'll be like, my best friend, we've been friends forever. And I'll be like, okay, so listen, I'm going to tell you because I'm not going to tell him, but he's right now. But then eventually, of course, I do share with him. I'm like, you're right. You were so right. And I'm so grateful that you continued to tell me that it was going to be okay and God was going to provide, because look at where we're at now.
Right.
So.
And that's the true leader of your family.
Yes, and I'm just so grateful. I really am.
So
for
awesome.
trusting everything.
Yes, yes. And trust. That's hard.
It's so hard.
Especially if you've walked through very hard seasons in your life.
It's very hard.
Trusting people after hard seasons.
Yeah.
Trusting anything, really.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to even trust a chair, you know?
Yeah,
like,
no, seriously. Absolutely.
You fall down, you know, you're going to want to not really trust anything after that. Yet God provides. All right. What is one piece of wisdom that you want to leave our listeners with about faith, love, trusting God's plan for their lives?
I would say that it's okay to go through really hard moments and know that that is what's going to shape you and your testimony.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to make you a stronger person today. And if I could say one thing too is, again, surround yourself with like-minded people. It is so important to have praying friends.
Yeah.
Praying husband and wives, like it really is. And again, very impactful. And let go and just trust that God is going to lead you into the path that he has planned for you. Right. So, because I do think that's very challenging for people, especially people that haven't allowed God to work in their lives. Like they haven't gotten to witness or see that, you know, or they don't, I have ran into this before where they'll tell me a story, right? And everything worked out being okay in the end. I'm like, you do realize like that was God, right? Yeah. And so reminding them that, but also having friends to remind you that, right? Because we get into moments too, and I'm like crazy. So, but yeah, just let go, trust in God's plan for you. It's so important. I don't obviously regret anything in my life, but I do wish that I would have started this journey earlier on in my life. So, because it's just so, I'm just grateful, and I am thankful that I get to live the rest of my life this way. And it's just, I know that it's just going to be so much more beautiful but
doesn't mean it's going to be easy.
Right. But I have God that's going to walk me through everything. Amen. So I just, you know, again, I did have him when I was younger. I just didn't fully trust in him. And I think that's important for people to seriously trust and let go and get involved in a church.
Yeah.
Get
accountability. Have, you know, like-minded friends, like you said. And really just know, like, I might be walking through a hard season, but you're over here, you know, having a really good season. Right. So you can help me pray. You can help me walk through that season, and then vice versa, because seasons are seasons. Absolutely. They change.
Absolutely.
So you might be walking through something, and I have good stuff going on over here, or you're walking through something, I'm walking through something, and together we can pray and really just uplift each other.
Yeah, and just having that reminder that God's there always through everything, all of it.
Definitely.
So,
and having friends that meet you where you are. Yes. And I think Christ following friends definitely are able to meet you where you are.
Yep. And show up too. Yes. You know, just show up for those friends too that do need you in those moments. So there's moments that I've had that I wish friends showed up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But.
And friends definitely are a good influence on your life. Obviously, we have, Christ, our husbands, our children, but those friends are very important to have because
it's just a good reminder, It's a really good reminder. So,
and you can be honest and a little more of the ugly sometimes with your friends.
And very vulnerable with them. So,
and then if you have friends that you can really trust, that's really amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So building that community of friendship. And I love how you said about praying, couples praying.
Yeah.
That's really awesome.
Yeah. We have our best friends that anytime that we are like going through challenges or, we've got you, it's important to have those people, right, that are in your corner, and we have them and they know. I mean, I'm like, it's not even written on my face, but they know, and so it's just powerful to have friends like that for you and that pray and remind you that God's going to lead and God's going to provide.
Yep.
So
it's going to be okay either way.
Yes.
Because the big man's got you.
Yes.
Well, I want to thank you for taking time to come on here chat with me.
Yeah, thank
Again,
you.
This was great. I love talking about this subject. Is there anything that you want to add before we go?
No, I think I hit it all today without crying so much. So
that's all right. Crying's so freeing. Yeah. I love crying.
Yeah, I'm a crier.
Me too.
Yeah.
Like, I try to talk to the pastor at church afterwards. I'm a pastor circler, so I wait until he's free, and then I'm like, blah, let me just start. But I'm like, blah.
But I'm also a sympathy crier. So
same.
If you start crying, I'm gonna start crying, and then we're all gonna be crying.
And everyone's gonna be crying.
No, but
I'm a happy crier too.
Yeah, no, I am too. I can definitely. I don't know. I'm just emotional.
It's good though.
I don't my kids will do something exciting, and I'm like,
same.
Yeah. So, but that never goes away for me at least. So.
No, and that's good because that means that you're just a wholehearted, loving person.
I am, and I love my babies. So
I know you do,
and my husband too.
Yeah. Don't forget about that.
Yeah, husband, absolutely.
Even though we talked about him half the podcast,
I know.
But again, I appreciate you so much for coming on here.
Thank you for allowing me to be here and share my story, and hopefully it touches some lives.
Definitely. So. Will you share your Instagram so if there's any of my friends out here looking to buy a house?
Okay, my Instagram is Brittney Strand Realtor. That's BRITTANY Strand STRAND Realtor, and you can just find me on social media. So.
Yeah, and she even has tips on there.
Yeah, tips on buying and selling and all the fun things, and I even share some really funny reels. So don't.
I love when you go on somebody's Instagram, and they have a niche. Yeah. But they also share their personality. Yeah. So I love watching your reels.
Oh yeah, my personality is all over my Instagram.
I love it.
So the good, the bad, and the ugly. So.
Personality is very important.
Yeah, and you're being authentic.
Yeah, definitely. There's something you're working on. Would you like to share about that?
Yeah, so we're working on a course that we're going to be able to provide to people with buying or selling, and I'm super excited about it. I can't share too much, but it's definitely coming out soon, and I'm excited to share it with everyone. So if you are looking for some guides on buying or selling, it'll be out soon for you.
That's your girl right there. All right. Thank you again so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Mwah. Thank you to the beautiful Fusion Cantina for allowing me to record these walking guided meditations in this beautiful space. Check them out at fusioncantina.com. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Mwah.